Hello!
We're here!
We are here indeed. It is the end of 2016. And this is it's a very special episode of Sidewalk Slam. The podcast, vidcast series where we try to look at WWE, primarily wrestling, in a positive light and focus on storylines and narrative while still giving them the gears when they mess it up.
Yeah.
And this is going to be our 2016 retrospective, I guess.
Yeah, year in review, I guess, maybe?
The Slammy Awards. Wait.
Yeah. Wait, we can't do that?
The sidewalk, the some sorties.
Some sorties? That's really good.
Oh, really?
Yeah!
Sweet, I love it.
Some sorties, I like it.
I put out a call on Twitter, and Adam did as well, for suggestions of sort of categories that you'd like to see reviewed, and we took some of those and made a short list, and then separately sort of built our own best of list of the year.
I don't know what's on Graham's list. So.
Yeah, and we're coming at it. We're like, obviously any opinion or any list like this is going to be opinion, but we're going with our, our favorite match of the year or our favorite wrestler of the year rather than the best, because we can't tell you what to like.
No.
But we can certainly tell you what we like, and we're going
That's
to.
why I've always been thrown off by like best lists anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, well, what if I don't think that's the best?
Yeah, it's the thing with the internet is that, like, obviously anything said aloud on like Twitter or whatever, has this invisible, but that is my opinion, attached to it that many people forget. Yeah, and they're just like, that is not the case, and it's like, hang on. So we're just saying that right at the beginning. Yeah. This is just our opinion, but come with us on this journey.
Come hang out with us. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Favorite new wrestling podcast, Sidewalk Slam. Good. I'm glad we established that. Now.
Okay, before we start though, what's your opinion on the year as a whole? If I was going to say WWE 2016.
I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think looking back especially, I'm like, man, this year was really good.
Yeah, there were some duds. Yeah. And I'm going to talk about a couple of them tonight, but overall, I think it was better than last year.
Yeah.
Last year you had the interminable authority angle going on all year long. Because remember, that didn't really end until WrestleMania this year. Yeah. And so the authority, and it'd been going on for like 2 or 3 years at this point. So it was all through 2015. The only other ongoing storyline that I can recall was the just miserable Rusev, Lana, Ziggler, Summer Rae love quadrangle that was just the pits.
Yeah, that was awful.
And I'm trying to remember
Roman Reigns fighting Sheamus for the title.
Yeah. It was.
We had a really good year this year. When you look back,
WrestleMania in 2015. Yeah, that had a much more satisfying conclusion because that was Rollins cashing in on the Lesnar-Reigns match, making a triple threat. Yeah. Whereas this year's WrestleMania main event was the
predictable,
the shipping container being slowly lowered onto you that you can see coming from a mile away. Of like, oh look, it's Roman Reigns.
Yeah. I mean, kudos to them for actually finally, pulling the trigger on it.
I guess.
I mean, like, they could have just balked to our demands, I guess.
Yeah, I would have liked that.
Yeah, I mean, we all would have, but
obviously I would have liked for them
to, going through with it.
Be like, anyway, just finally get it out of your system.
I think if you compare 2015 to this year, like 2015 was kind of doo-doo. Yeah.
So, 2016, good stuff. What are things that we liked or at least were notable that perhaps weren't as great about it? Where do we want to start? I don't know. Let's start with our favorite storyline. Okay. Our show is all about storyline. We're always talking about, from a storyline perspective. And so let's talk about our favorite storylines.
Favorite storyline. Okay.
I'm going to start with one that is maybe not my most favorite, but one that I really liked. Yeah. At least it grew on me. The Golden Truth.
Oh, yeah.
I actually really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was really good.
Like, initially I was like, this is dumb. And then it really grew on me. Yeah. And I
didn't have that written down.
By the end of it, obviously, like, once they became a team, this is the problem, right? Is like, because wrestling never stops. Yeah. Because there's no season breaks, there's no, you can't, it's impossible to look at anything in a complete vacuum. until it's like someone has like left the company or something, and you can sort of look at a thing as a whole.
Yeah.
And obviously the Golden Truth now as a team have not really been utilized or doing much. But the arc of one of them wanting to be a team and then somehow that morphing into the other one wanting to be a team and then eventually finally coinciding and being a team was entertaining to watch.
Yeah, that was good. There was like R-Truth dressing up as like the different things, like when he was dressed as the Penguin.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some good moments. Or like when Goldust was first trying to get him and then he was like hiding in the bathroom and I forgot all about that.
Yeah, that was funny. It was fun to watch.
That was really good. One of my favorites was I know. Okay, I won't say NXT. I should mention,
by and large, we're going to be talking about the main roster.
The main roster. Yeah.
There will be a couple things that we'll have to mention about NXT, but we've only sort of dealt peripherally with NXT since we started at Royal Rumble 2016 was the first episode of this show. And so we'll be talking mostly about the main roster, but there's some NXT stuff coming. I'm sure there is. I
actually really liked Kalisto and Corbin. It was surprisingly good.
It's been a slow burn, but it's been really interesting because it's been going since before the brand split.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's like the classic. I mean, WCW did the same-ish storyline with Rey Mysterio and Kevin Nash.
Yeah,
it's not as intense as that storyline was, but I mean, look, I really like Baron Corbin. I like his character. I like the way he wrestles. I like the way that the way he acts. And how we talked about, I guess, remember back in the first episode when we talked about Ambrose and Owens wrestle like their characters would wrestle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I feel Corbin does as well.
Yeah.
And even Kalisto surprised me because I was like, wow, this guy, I bought into that feud and those two characters. So moving forward, I'm really excited to see like what happens with both of them.
Well, because when they introduced Sin Cara, it was very much like, look, and Luchador. Watch him do the flips, and it was very
He's gonna
like
do a lucha thing.
Yeah, and then when you had the Lucha Dragons in NXT, and it was Sin Cara and Kalisto, and they wear the lucha mask and they do flippy stuff, and it's like, okay, I felt like WWE was treating them the way that they're treating the cruiserweights now, which is very much sort of like, look, a spectacle, right?
Yeah.
And to have Kalisto specifically break out of that as as an actual character, is impressive, and I think is really interesting.
Like that whole and the feud leading into TLC, and like Kalisto showing like maybe a darker side, like when he attacked Corbin. When Corbin misstepped off the apron, like I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, because that's not the like.
It's not usually how it happens for like the big guy just beats up the little guy the whole feud.
Yeah, it's not the sort of the goody two shoes thing, because I'm still, and this is not fair to Sin Cara or Kalisto, but I'm still seeing them as WWE management trying to replace Rey Mysterio as a like lucha guy that the kids like.
Yeah.
Right?
That's fair.
And so I'm not expecting that kind of aggression out of Kalisto. Not that Rey never showed aggression, but he was very sort of neutered by management as being like, no, the kids love you, so you got to be really happy and you're great and everything, and you come down to the ring and bop heads with the kids and give them the hood and everything.
And it's like when you lose, you just say, well, shucks, better luck next time. You know what I mean?
And it's cool to see Kalisto, not do that.
Show a little bit of that fuego, as they say.
It has to be said, even though this storyline began I guess it began 14 years ago but it began in NXT. Owens and Zayn, was a terrific.
Oh, it was awesome!
Just a terrific storyline. The way that anytime they were near each other, they would just go after one another, and it got worse and worse to the extent that it was significantly impacting their actual careers. That it was actually affecting their ability to win titles and to win matches.
Yeah,
and realizing that they had to deal with this personal conflict and put it behind them. Yeah, was a really good build and arc and conclusion for that story.
The big turning point for that story too was that four-way for the Intercontinental title when Sami Zayn I think Sami had it won,
Pretty much.
Or pretty close to having won.
And
then
he just
went after Kevin Owens.
He just ignored it.
Yeah. Because he had a chance to like pin whoever it was in the ring. I can't even remember anymore.
And he could have been Intercontinental Champion, but he was so
like just like
focused on beating up Owens.
God, yeah, that was really great. Fuck, wrestling's awesome.
Right?
There were so many good moments this year.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And I mean, like this storyline informs a couple other of my faves of the year.
Yeah, and like that whole storyline culminating obviously in their match at Battleground, which we've talked about at length. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, I find it weird that they didn't split them up for the brand split.
Yeah.
Which we were all kind of like, well, I mean, they're going to run into each other, right? Like, how does it work? And they had a couple like whatever matches on Raw that I think a lot of people were super upset about, but I don't think it diminishes the quality of, or like how useful that storyline was for both guys, because Sammy just plays like, Sammy is the perfect person to play like the sympathetic underdog.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's what he's doing with Braun Strowman. I'm hoping he doesn't get like typecasted into it because he did it against Aaron Neville. Or Adrian Neville, back in NXT. Yeah, back in NXT, he did it against Neville as like he couldn't win the big match, and then he did it against Kevin Owens in NXT, and then moving up to the main roster after he got injured.
Yeah,
was that this year?
No, that was back in 2015 when Cena was doing the Open Challenge.
Yeah, God, that was awesome
because he was away for a while.
Yeah, I have Styles versus Cena.
The current one or the previous of like
the one leading up to SummerSlam,
right?
Like that whole arc, like going from AJ turning heel on Cena, and then they had the match at Payback. Payback, and then AJ won by cheating. Well, he didn't really know, and they really played up that whole like him not being aware that the club helped him.
Yeah, which
I liked, and then fully turning heel, which I was like, it just felt like
it felt really soon.
Yeah, and it felt like they were doing it just because they want Cena to be cheered.
Right.
You know what I mean? But AJ is way better as a heel than he is as a face. So and then leading into the Battleground match with Cena and Enzo and Big Cass against the club. And there was that great promo mostly by Enzo and Cass. Yeah. But before the match happened. I think that's where the soccer mom thing came from.
Yeah, when Cena's just like, he's just sort of like staring at Enzo talking like, wow. Have you seen this guy?
He can talk.
Look at him go. He's like, what do you... It's like, I'm pretty sure there's more than 3 people in the Wu-Tang Clan.
And then ultimately leading up into the match at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Which I was betting the farm on Cena winning. And then AJ winning was just a nice little surprise that you get every once in a while.
And I think this is tough because it's not necessarily a specific storyline, but I want to give a special shout out to the sort of the character development and progression for Dean Ambrose over the course of the year.
Yeah.
And just how I find his character really interesting.
Yeah.
And there was stuff that I really, really liked. I liked the lead up to the Brock Lesnar No Holds Barred match
God, that was
at WrestleMania. Like the lead up to it was great, particularly when the bit where he came down to the ring with a wagon, walked around the ring, filling it with props and stuff.
Well, that was when
and didn't
Paul
say
was
anything,
and then
Lesnar and Heyman were in the ring, and Ambrose just comes down, fills it up with stuff, and leaves.
Yeah, that was great.
And the whole like lead up to that about how like Lesnar was kicking his ass and he was just getting back up and be like, can I have another? That whole sort of thing.
Yeah, that
was great. And then finally getting the championship. And everything since then, the feud with AJ and Cena, and then just AJ.
Yeah.
I've just been really enjoying what he's been doing from a character perspective.
Yeah.
Over the course of the year,
I do think that we would be incorrect to not mention Miz and Ziggler.
Yeah.
I know we just said we didn't want to say best anything, but I think that was the best story.
It was a really, really good story.
Because it's like, when it first started, I was like, oh. you know, another Ziggler feud.
Even
know what I mean?
even he said that. I think I read an interview with him that he's like, I think over the past 3 or 4 years, Miz and I have had hundreds of matches, and when we started doing this storyline, people were like, oh my god, so boring, and then by the end of it, people were really into it, and that's true. They absolutely turned it around on me.
Yeah,
I was like, you know what, I'm bought in. I'm all for it.
Fantastic, and like some of the best promos of the year were in that feud.
Now, did you want to do favorite moment as a separate entity from favorite spot?
Yeah, because moment. I mean, I guess technically you can. I just had moment down.
All right,
because I've got a few.
All right, well let's talk about our favorite moments of the year.
You go first.
All right.
Yeah.
Ryder winning the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania.
I didn't have that on my list. Yeah.
Ryder winning the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania in the ladder match was, again, not my number one, but a favorite moment for me of the year. It was so great. It was probably the most feel-good moment of that entire night.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess
it was so great.
It didn't hit me that hard because I missed the Ryder era, you know what I mean? So
I'm just so glad to see him finally win, you know.
And then lose it the next night.
And then lose it the next night. And then Mojo Rawley showed up.
Yay, Mojo Rawley!
But yeah, that one. Yeah. That was a favorite moment. The end of, well, Sammy destroying Owens at the end of their Battleground match.
God, that's so good.
The haluva kick in the corner, and then catching him, and there's this moment of Zayn is you think he's going to be like, man, what have I done to my friend? What have we become? And then he realizes, no, I can't have sympathy in this moment, and puts him back in the corner for another haluva kick.
God,
was so good.
Yeah,
such a great moment.
Yeah. I still remember it. Someone on Twitter was like, "Well, it looks like WWE's used up their allotment for pathos for the year."
Oh my god, that was amazing.
Because I don't think there was a better like moment like storyline.
That's probably storyline. That's probably my number one moment for the year. Actually, right there. I have some cool spots.
Yeah, I guess it's a match, but I love the Wyatt New Day compound.
That was sweet.
It was so. I mean, it was just right on the heels of Final Deletion.
I was going to say, I wrote down, I have a couple peppered through here that I haven't prepped Adam for. Yeah. And there was one for like best non-WWE thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's got to be the Final Deletion.
Yeah.
Just because it's so insane. Yeah, and it's so unlike anything that anyone has ever tried to get away with.
Yeah.
And they're just 2 feet jumping in deep end, all seriousness.
I still haven't watched
a drone broke a pinfall.
I still haven't watched that last one.
That was total nonstop deletion, but still,
a drone.
The Final Deletion was amazing. But yeah, so the compound.
His son is 2-0 in wrestling.
His son's like 5.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
He's 2-0, man. That goes down on the Wikipedia page.
That's amazing. So yeah, the Final Deletion has to be recognized as a thing that occurred this year. Yeah. And then the Wyatt compound match.
The only other non-WWE thing I watched this year was Wrestle Kingdom 11, which was back in January, and that had that was my first viewing of Shinsuke Nakamura because he wrestled AJ Styles at the time, and that whole card was amazing. That was my first time seeing a lot of like the indie guys, the big ones like the Young Bucks and like Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is actually headlining Wrestle Kingdom 12.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Other good moments, Bayley being Sasha's partner at Battleground. Mm-hmm. I thought that was great.
That was sweet. I want to Bray Wyatt directing Roman's spear.
Oh, yeah,
in
the gun.
In their tag match.
That was probably the best wrestling gif of the year.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I actually saw it just a few days ago, and I was reminded. I was like, oh, right, he shot the gun, and then Roman did the spear. That was like the only time Roman was maybe truly over with us. The Club and Finn Balor at SummerSlam. That little backstage segment.
The little backstage segment. Hey, bro. Yeah, he just looks at them like, no.
Yeah.
That's a very low key, just like,
yeah.
I love that. Yeah. In terms of the opposite of low key, the least subtle thing, speaking of respect must be given to Shane jumping off the cell.
Yeah, goddamn.
Like maybe not moment, but in terms of spot of the year, that's got to top a couple people's lists.
Yeah, that's got to be it, right? Like, what a maniac.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all knew he was going to do it, too.
Oh, yeah.
And we're still amazed when he does do it.
Yep.
Rounding out my moments, anything Jericho. I mean, we could just sit here and we could probably spend an hour.
Yeah, I did have Owens and Jericho on my short list for favorite storyline. It's been pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, the progression of Jericho throughout the year.
But the problem with that storyline is it's not really over.
Yeah.
But I guess we can't cut it off here because
Jericho's feuded over the course of the year. He has feuded over a jacket, a scarf, a potted plant, a list, an invisible man. Like,
oh yeah,
it's
a genius.
It's been so good.
I still remember very clearly that promo he cut at Roadblock in Toronto. Was it in Toronto? Mm-hmm. And how I was pretty sure that you could just mute it and you would still know like what he's talking about. Because he fought Jack Swagger.
Yeah.
And Jericho still got booze, right? Yeah. In Canada. So I mean the man's we could go on about Jericho for like an hour.
Well, do you have more in your moments, or should we jump to favorite wrestlers?
I have a couple more moments.
Sure.
In NXT, Shinsuke Nakamura's debut entrance.
Yeah, wow.
At Dallas, because like I get chills just thinking about it, but when the arena was dark and then his music starts playing and people are kind of watching and then they get that it's like black text. And then the red text with Shinsuke standing in front of it.
So good.
Oh my god. It just reminded me of like a really old like a Japanese like martial arts flick.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
and I was like, oh my god, this guy's on, and I just fell in love instantly. I was like, I think we all did.
Yeah.
It was just like, this is great. And I think that's AJ Styles' debut, but I think that's on.
Actually, I tell you what, let's jump then to another thing I just wanted to do some call-outs for that I totally forgot to write down. But favorite entrance. Obviously, that moment was the debut moment was amazing.
Yeah.
But I really quite liked Nakamura's more recent entrance at one of the takeovers with
the multiple violinists.
Yeah.
Bobby Roode was pretty
cool.
good too.
Bobby Roode with the choir was pretty fantastic. And just for the sheer insanity, like it was the stupidest entrance, the second stupidest entrance I think I've ever seen, but Triple H's WrestleMania entrance has to be at least talked about. For the Steph up on the throne, giving the promo, and there's all the skeleton men with the titles, and then Triple H comes out, and it's bonkers. It's utterly bonkers.
Yeah, that's Triple H, right? I was rewatching. I rewatched parts of WrestleMania 30, and his entrance there was pretty sweet. Whereas it wasn't crazy or anything, but he was just dressed as the king of that character, the King of Kings. And then I think it was Sasha, Charlotte, and Alexa Bliss were his little cup holders. It was pretty sweet.
His WrestleMania 31 entrance was, by the way, the dumbest.
Oh, that one was dumb.
That one was bad dumb.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 32 entrance was awesome dumb.
Yeah.
Again, like a copy of Heavy Metal.
Yeah.
But WrestleMania 31 with the RoboCop thing was really
Terminator.
Terminator, it was really stupid.
Because he had the weird robot arm, but it was
so stupid. It was bad.
Yeah. What other? I'm trying to think of other good. I think that was pretty much it, really. Mm-hmm. As far as extravagant. I mean, Bailey. Sasha came in an Escalade a couple times, but that's kind of whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there was nothing. I mean, there was no Rusev entering with a tank.
Fuck, that
like there was at WrestleMania 31. That was sweet. That was the best entrance of that WrestleMania.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think that just Triple H's absolutely manic entrance was pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, who are your favorite wrestlers of this year?
I had to cut it down. I managed to cut it down to 5.
Wow.
A top 5.
All right. Who's your fave 5,
okay.
Booker?
My Shucky Ducky Wrestler of the Year moment.
God damn.
Quack, quack.
I'm so sorry.
Number 1, nobody's surprised, AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Yeah, the man has had one of the best years as far as like WWE goes. Not counting like, I know you could say like, oh, so and so had a great year in New Japan or something like that. But I think as far as like the WWE goes, I don't think many people can claim to have a better debut year.
Yeah, he's
beat Cena clean.
He's been so good.
Yeah,
he has not had a bad match.
Yeah,
like he's great, and he has made anyone else who's in the ring with him look great as well.
Yeah,
he's made James Ellsworth look amazing.
Yeah. He made James Ellsworth look like a threat,
but not in a. He's made him look amazing, but not in a way that actually made Ellsworth look good.
Yeah,
he's made it work.
Yeah.
He's made James Ellsworth as a concept work.
Yeah,
and he's been great in promos.
God, remember when we were like, I heard he wasn't that great in promos, and now look at him.
Well, now, again, we didn't say he was bad at promos. We just said he wasn't known for promos because he was known for his in-ring work.
Yeah,
and I know he's not going to go down as one of the greatest talkers in wrestling, right?
Yeah.
He's not a Dusty Rhodes or a Ric Flair or something. But Ric Flair's kind of insane. But the point is, but he's been great on the mic this year. He's been really, really good. And debuting at the Rumble, and he's been champ for however many months now. Clean win over John Cena. Just looks like $1 million.
People can say that.
Yeah,
there is very few. No cheating, nothing. Just a one-on-one. Clean win.
He's been really.
My
really
number
great.
1 and number 2 are very clear. So number 2 is The Miz.
Yeah.
And then 3, 4, and 5, you can probably swap.
I can guess one of them.
Yeah.
Charlotte.
Yeah. I have Charlotte at number 3.
Yeah.
I thought Charlotte was awesome this year. Like, it wasn't really her doing, but finally WWE gets rid of the Divas title, gives us that sweet new belt, and then, her feuds with Natalya and Brie Bella weren't like that great. I mean, they were all right, but the Natalya one, they had a match at Roadblock, and I thought that one was really good.
Was that the one with the dusty finish?
I think so.
The screw job finish.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
With referee Charles Robinson, because it was.
Yeah, they had
they had an old man at ringside stipulation.
Yeah,
and Brett was there, so of course you have to dig out the Montreal screw job again.
Yeah. So
it's a rarely used match type, the old man at ringside match, but they get a lot of mileage out of it.
Oh boy, I think we've struck gold. But then moving on to a lot of people dislike the Sasha feud because it lasted so long and there was a lot of title changes, but
Sasha's on my top list, by the way.
Really?
Oh yeah.
And then the feud with Sasha and just everything she did and that promo that she cut, I know it kind of mirrors the other one with Rick, but after Sasha won at that Falls Count Anywhere match, and then Charlotte cuts that promo on her dad, I don't know, I just thought it was really great. I just loved it. I thought the whole thing worked. I thought Charlotte was great. And she was definitely, as great as I think Sasha is, I think she suffers as a face.
Yeah, I think her character was more well-defined when she was a heel as the legit boss in NXT. But, honestly, she's legit. Yeah. It's not just her catchphrase, hashtag legit boss. She is legit. Yeah. And I agree with you on Charlotte, by the way. Yeah. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to say one's better than the other, but I just think that Sasha has made every match that she's been in look great, and that she's been excellent. Yeah. All year.
It's did Charlotte and Sasha even have a bad match?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I can't think of one. And then 4 and 5 are just Jericho and Owens. Yeah. But those 3, Charlotte, Jericho, Owens, you can kind of, the difference between the 3 are, microscopic. Jericho and Owens, what more can we say, right?
Yeah. So I'm also, because I'm more into him than you are, I'm also putting Dean on my list of favorite wrestlers of the year. I've just really enjoyed, I agree with all yours, by the way, but I've just really enjoyed, he doesn't act like anybody else. He's different, right? And it's refreshing, and just he's this kind of, he's not what the announcers say. The announcers are he's crazy. He doesn't know what's going on. He does.
Yeah.
He knows what's going on, and he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And except when he definitely cares, you know. And it's been super fun to watch him all year. So I agree with everyone on your list, but I'm adding Dean and Sasha as shout-outs.
That's fair. That's what I mean. Like the difference in the top 10. I think the difference is so small.
Yeah.
I really do think that it's like AJ, and then there's a very clear gap.
I think so, yeah.
And then Miz, and then maybe another smaller gap, and then everyone else.
Dipping quickly to NXT, I do want to give a shout out to Shinsuke Nakamura, who I didn't really know much of. I'd heard the name prior to this year.
Yeah.
And watching his first match, I was like, holy shit, there is something amazing about this guy.
Yeah.
There is some sort of insane charisma that he has that you can't help but like him.
Yeah.
Another side category, by the way, Kathleen's pick for hottest wrestler.
Yeah.
Also Shinsuke Nakamura.
Really?
Oh yeah. He's amazingly charismatic for a guy who never really talks.
Yeah.
He doesn't cut promos, and you're just like, man, this guy's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, he's great.
Yeah. I think in NXT though, like I think Shinsuke is like number one, but I think Samoa Joe is like a very close second.
I was always a fan of Samoa Joe back in TNA, and
I didn't watch a lot of his TNA stuff.
Joe's been doing good work.
And like his quest for the NXT title, going from trying to get Finn, and even though Joe lost a lot, you were still like, this man is still very dangerous.
Oh yeah.
And he just like, what's the word I'm looking for? Exudes threat, like he's just like that very like primal kind of like animal.
You would
danger.
never bring up with him his loss record, right?
Yeah,
like,
you'd never be like,
you lost the last 2 times. So you want to fight about it?
Yeah. Like, no, thank you.
No,
okay,
thank you, sir. Good day to you.
Check, please.
Check, please.
Yeah, but I mean, NXT's been great. I mean, Austin Aries is too bad. He got his like jaw like. He had to get surgery on his jaw, so that's why he's been doing commentary on Cruiserweight 205 Live.
Right. Yeah, I was wondering why he was there.
His match with Nakamura was actually close to making my short list for match of the year, just because I liked it so much.
Oh yes, a couple of people suggested a category for best sidewalk slam.
Oh, I couldn't even name one if you asked me to, but you know.
Charlotte. She occasionally uses the sidewalk slam.
Really?
She's real good at it, yeah. And they call it on commentary, like, oh, Charlotte with a sidewalk slam. And I'm like, he said the thing. He said the thing.
It's like when they say the title of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, that's us. Yeah. Thanks for the free plug, assholes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick dip to some more critical stuff before we ramp back into positivity.
Yeah.
Some storyline, because not everything's good, and we talk about it a lot. What are some storylines that either like didn't pay off or were just kind of mishandled?
I have number one with a bullet. League of Nations.
Oh wow! I didn't even. I had forgotten about the League of Nations.
Number one with a bullet, because it was the first night. Remember, we're all like, oh, this is awesome!" Like
Sheamus and Rusev and Alberto Del Rio and Wade Barrett, who was finally going to get some main event exposure, that he desperately deserved. And now 2 of them aren't even with the company. And they were like, "We are now the League of Nations, and we're this heel stable of incredibly provably tough guys."
Yeah.
And then what, was it like a week later that Roman beat all of them?
Oh yeah, they were just fed to Roman. They got put in the wood chipper, man. It was just like,
that big potential there just wasted.
Yeah. And I only had 2 here because I was having a real hard. That's a hard one to think of.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to think of all the storylines that happened, and also Shane's attempt to take over Raw.
Yeah, that was my number one of just completely mishandled. What the fuck just happened? Like in one, it's like. He comes back out of nowhere. He wants to run the company. Vince is like, no. Shane's like, well, I have this lockbox. And Vince is like, okay, but only if you beat Taker at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's never explained why Taker is doing this.
Yeah.
Taker just says, I'm going to beat the crap out of him, and it's your fault, Vince. And Vince is like, okie dokie. everyone says bitch a lot.
Yeah.
And then the match happens. Vince gets whatever's in the envelope. You never find out what that is.
Yeah.
Then Shane does run Raw for like 3 weeks, and then now he's running SmackDown.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Well,
and I love that he and Brian are doing awesome work on SmackDown.
Yeah.
I actually really like their segments as authority figures on SmackDown because they're doing the thing that we talked about at the beginning of this podcast, which was they're just trying to run the show, and everyone they're just like, will you please just do the thing? And I love it, rather than getting like personally vindictive about stuff. Like even with The Miz, right?
Yeah.
Brian's not like, I'm going to put you in the match against the strong guy because I don't like you. You know, no, he's just like, I just hate you, Miz.
Yeah.
But you're great.
I really hope you lose tonight.
I hope you lose, but man, you're great at your job, so whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's great.
There's like a modicum of respect.
Yeah.
Even when he dislikes him.
The whole Shane Lockbox storyline WrestleMania thing, that was garbage.
Yeah.
And it was so badly handled.
I still stand by the fact that they should have put Undertaker's urn in that lockbox.
Yeah.
That would have been sick.
I'd also like, I guess, in terms of lack of payoff, this isn't really. I guess it's not a storyline that paid off, but a match that didn't pay off.
Yeah.
The Lesnar Ambrose match at WrestleMania was a huge letdown compared to what had led into it.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a great opportunity. And I know I've said this before on the podcast, but again, we're reviewing the year. That because it was no holds barred, it wasn't a straight up match. That was the perfect opportunity to let someone have a win over Lesnar.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought maybe they're going to pull the trigger.
And having Dean have a win over Lesnar, because it still wouldn't have affected Lesnar's mystique as this crazy final boss, because there's outside objects, it's no holds barred. He could have, caught him like a lucky glancing blow with a chair or a kendo stick or a Terry Funk's chainsaw. Yeah.
And like, what if he cuffed Lesnar to something?
Yeah, just having like Foley show up and give him the bat wrapped in barbed wire, and then Terry Funk show up and give him the chainsaw, and then have the thing with him getting all the props from ringside, and the actual match was just like 15 minutes and not much happened.
Oh, it was sub 15 minutes.
Yeah,
I want to say
12?
like 13. Yeah,
it was disappointing.
It was in the 13 range, and it was just like that was one of the matches I was most looking forward to, and then it just kind of happened, and it was your typical Brock Lesnar match.
Yeah,
where he just beat the piss out of the person.
And I mean,
that was it.
There have been, and we've talked about them a lot, there have been certainly many examples of like a good build up to a point, and then the thing happens, and then there's no follow through. We've talked about that a lot. But I also want to mention specifically how badly handled the Shining Stars have been. And I feel bad for those guys, because the entire, like, weeks and weeks and weeks of promos, and then nothing.
Yeah.
Similarly, make Darren Young great again.
Yeah.
They did all the promos. He won a battle royal for a U.S. title shot, lost the title shot, and then disappeared.
Yeah.
Just like started having a couple matches against Titus.
They had like a mini feud against Titus, and then they dropped that.
And nothing.
And then that was it.
And Triple H giving the title to Owens.
Right. Fuck, how could I forget? That might be number one, actually.
Like,
because it's like, why did he do it? And then they mentioned it briefly where Seth Rollins was like, I want Triple H. And it's like,
you're a couple months late on that, buddy.
Shouldn't you have been doing that the week after? Like
the next day. Like, he's gotten Steph's face about it, and she was like, well, it wasn't me. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll remember this in a few months.
Yeah. That's a good point. I totally forgot. I think that's how badly it's been handled that I totally forgot about it.
Yeah. Because
it doesn't even matter anymore. Now when I find out, I'll just be like, huh, all right. Because I remember watching that episode of Raw and being like, I cannot wait to see what happens next week. That was like the first time.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt in high school watching wrestling, because I was like, fuck yeah, it's like Monday, I get to find out what happens, and then no.
Yeah, he does the
nothing.
thing.
I don't think they barely even acknowledge
does like a stare down with Foley, looks at Steph, who looks shocked, walks out through the crowd, and you're like, holy crap, and the next week, nothing.
Actually, I'm going to change that. League of Nations, you're going to number 2.
Fair enough.
One's going back up to number 1.
Fair enough.
All right.
Those were the ones that really stuck out to me as missed opportunities.
Hey man, like, we like to be, and again, the hard thing I find about criticizing wrestling is because you never know where they're going next with something.
Because it never stops.
Yeah, because it never
Wrestling will continue until morale improves.
Yeah.
Store.loadingreadyrun.com. Yeah, it doesn't, I mean, until everything gets shut down, there's no opportunity to look back, and, you know, it's always sort of ongoing, and maybe it'll get picked up later in reference, but some of this stuff is... Yeah. And my favorite moment of corporate shilling is the backstage promo with Natalia discussing how she got back into shape with a really conspicuously placed Subway footlong on the shelf behind her. It's the most awkwardly delivered bullshit in the world.
I had totally forgot about that until you mentioned it again. I was like, holy shit, that was a thing. I was like, who puts a sub up there on the shelf like that? Nobody. Nobody does it.
Enzo and Cass doing a thing for like Sonic or something.
That one was good because...
Oh, what we got over there? A couple taters? That was like goofy and funny, and like it was obvious, but this like half sincere, like like actual story about Natalia getting back into ring shape after an injury, and then like, really? And how did Subway help with that? Yeah. Oh, I ate their stuff. With this like dumb, it was
oh man, that's the best.
Also, like, having Toys R Us sponsor WWE makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Having Rolaids sponsor a pay-per-view is like...
Was that the first one? Was that Royal Rumble?
No, it was the one after that. Cause,
okay.
I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that awkward moment. I wonder if they're gonna edit out all the times on the network. I wonder if they're gonna edit out all the times they had Jared from Subway at ringside.
Really?
Oh, he's been there a lot.
Oh.
He like 3 or 4 times they'd be like, and look, in the front row, it's Jared from Subway. And he like stands up and he's like, hey everybody, and like gives King a foot long and
Funny aside, I was reading somewhere and someone's like mentioned like WWE went to Japan and filmed a Raw in like 2006.
Oh yeah.
In Tokyo.
I don't remember that.
And I went back and watched it. The crowd was nuts, like for everyone.
Oh, I bet.
Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho had a submission match.
Ooh.
And it was awesome. But this was also, I think this was in the prime, like Triple H was always the champion era.
Oh yeah.
Which I know a lot of people hated.
Yeah.
And I think this was just after Batista won the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. And Triple H was trying to convince Batista to go to SmackDown because he didn't want to wrestle Batista. I think that's what the storyline was. Shawn Michaels fought Ric Flair.
Wow.
Yeah. And what else happened? Randy Orton was like still wearing like those blue trunks. Young Randy Orton. And he was wrestling Christian. And Christian, I think that Stacy Keibler was there for some reason. I can't even remember. I didn't know. I was just being plopped into these storylines. Like,
wow.
Oh, and Tajiri and William Regal won the tag team championship. They beat La Resistance.
Wow, that must have been huge for Japan.
Yeah, it was
Go
pretty
Tajiri.
great. But yeah, I don't know why I decided to
buzzsaw.
watch it, or what reminded me of that. But yeah,
weird.
It was good. It was weird, like looking back and watching this stuff that I don't really know a lot about. Like I've heard things, but I should go back and watch like all the old Cena stuff. But I can't force myself to.
Yeah.
Because all I've heard is just bad things about it.
It's
right?
not, yeah. So we talked about your favorite or our favorite wrestlers.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily the favorite, but who do you think has improved hugely this year?
I have actually a few.
Sweet.
Strowman.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Because when Strowman, he didn't spend long in NXT, did he?
No.
And they were like, you would look great in the Wyatt family. Get up there.
Yeah. It's like, you got a beard, you're big.
Yeah. And so it was like, okay, he's in the Wyatt family now, and was like...
And he didn't really do anything in the Wyatt family. He just stood around a lot, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, just getting experience. But I think that now that they've moved him on from these squash matches, and he's been wrestling, like, he's wrestling Sami Zayn, and they have his last man standing match next week on Raw.
Because he's the first guy like this they've had in a long time.
Yeah.
Because like Kane and Big Show and Mark Henry, they're the old guard of monster heels.
Yeah.
And even when they're not heels.
Yeah.
And they haven't had a guy the size and impact of Strowman for a while. And the fact that he's also good
Yeah.
is really helpful.
Funnily enough, it's like that's a dying breed now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we've moved away from the big giant plotting monsters, and we're like athletic.
It's nice to have one.
I'm totally for just I don't want all the wrestlers to be like that, but I had Strowman at near the top, and Baron Corbin.
I had Corbin on my list as well.
Kalisto.
Yeah.
Carmella. After the heel turn.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point.
She got a lot better than when she was
I never saw any of her NXT stuff.
She wasn't really in NXT, like her singles career in NXT wasn't very, like, whatever. She was just the face, right?
Yeah.
And I think, like, in NXT, it was because people still remembered her as being paired. She used to be paired with Enzo and Cass.
Yeah.
So that was the big thing. It was like, oh, we like Enzo and Cass. We still like you, right? Mm-hmm. But when she came up to the main roster, like, not a lot of people know. I think I have a hard time separating that.
Imagine that NXT doesn't exist.
Yeah, and then being like, there's a lot of people that have never seen these people wrestle before. Because I just assume everyone watches NXT, right?
Yeah.
Or watches the NXT pay-per-views. But I think like a lot, because the network only has like a million, what is it, 1.5 million subscribers? So it's like, you know, I wouldn't say one, how much of their fan base would you say 1 million people is?
I have no idea.
I can't even give you a number.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's very small.
Yeah.
But yeah, she got a lot better when she turned heel and had a feud with Nikki Bella.
Similarly, Alexa Bliss, I think, has improved a lot this year.
Yeah.
Actually, big shout-outs to Naomi.
Yeah.
Because
all those women, like, just like...
Naomi was not good initially.
I wasn't around when she first started.
So I think she's great now. I think that her
her
repackage was really good too. That was great. And the thing is, you can be good already and still improve quite a bit. And I want to shout out to Sheamus.
Yeah.
Who he's won the title like 3 times.
Yeah.
But he got better this year in my eyes. Like part of it is how he's booked, but just like he's a lot more interesting. He was very 5 moves of doom for a while. Yeah. It was just like do the punches.
Was he like Irish John Cena?
Yeah.
That's basically it.
And this is the thing. I have always held The Miz in much higher esteem than most other people.
Yeah.
And I still think he's gotten better this year.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely
I liked his world title run. I liked his main event at WrestleMania. I thought it was good.
I still haven't watched that. I need to go back and watch it.
You should pay close attention to how the last like several minutes of the match he's like not conscious.
Really?
He gets Cena spears him or shoulder tackles him off or through the barricade, and he claps his head on the concrete, and he by his words, he does not remember the end of that match.
Really? That's terrifying.
Yeah. But he's like, so knowing that and that it all worked out, he's just going on instinct and knowing what has to happen.
That's crazy.
It's just like, all right.
Yeah,
good
shit.
Thank God that wasn't how WrestleMania ended, with someone being stretchered out with a concussion.
Yeah. I think like if we're going to have a category like who benefited most post brand split, Miz.
A lot of people are asking that. Yeah.
Miz is just the clear winner.
Yeah.
Right? Because like before the brand split, what was Miz doing? Like,
honestly, I think I gotta say Dean has probably benefited from the brand split in a big way, because he was getting buried by Rollins and Reigns and on Raw. And honestly, this has given Owens an opportunity to rise up on Raw.
Yeah.
I think it's been better for pretty much everyone.
Pretty much everyone. Yeah.
I mean,
I would say like
they're not paying less attention to the tag teams than they were, so it hasn't hurt the tag teams. It might not have helped them, but
there's definitely a couple of people that have absolutely benefited from it. Most improved to the Wyatts via storyline.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thankfully, finally. Now, when we're recording this, you will have already seen our episode about TLC and how excited we were that they finally have the tag team belts.
Yeah.
And we're recording this on December 29th.
Yeah.
And 2 days ago on SmackDown, they lost the belts.
I haven't watched it yet. So.
Neither have I. But they lost the belt to American Alpha.
Yeah.
So that's sweet for American Alpha. But we were hoping that the Wyatts would sort of like hold some gold for a while.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to feel about that. But I got to watch it. I got to watch it to see how it went down. But like,
I think there was like some miscommunication between Orton and Luke.
No.
So like,
no.
yeah, so that's what they're kind of like.
It's too soon.
Because Bray wasn't wrestling, right?
Right.
And sorry, I have two more.
Yeah.
Most improved. Dana Brooke.
Yeah.
I thought she got a lot better than when she was initially with Charlotte. Yeah. I'm talking about just when she moved up to the main roster.
That's fair.
The unfortunate injury to Emma.
Yeah.
And then Dana Brooke was just kind of like this crony. I mean, her feud with Bayley wasn't that great, but I still think that Dana's made some strides as far as like a character and as an in-ring performer went.
Yeah.
And then last, but certainly not least, the Usos.
Yes.
The heel turn did wonders for them.
That did a lot for them.
Yeah.
And I guess you could give a shout out also to Heath Slater, but the thing is, I think he's actually always been great.
Yeah, he's
just been low key very good the whole time, and they're recognizing it. And he got like a title run, and he got sort of a featured storyline for a while there. But he's actually always been very entertaining, but just never really featured.
Never take it seriously, I guess is the word. Yeah.
All right, got a couple more. Well, more than a couple more, but favorite promo of the year.
Where did I write that?
I've got a couple here. I think it's not really. It didn't really further a storyline, but I think you'd be hard pressed to find a more like meaningful collection of words being spoken by a wrestler on a microphone than Daniel Bryan's retirement.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can count that as a promo, but
I would.
Yeah.
I was thinking about putting in my moments, but I mean, it's hard to think like that happened this year.
Yeah. It sucks.
Sucks.
I know.
Just
it sucks so bad.
It's like, fuck, he was the best.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. But yeah, that promo, that speech.
Yeah.
I guess speech is the better word.
Oh yeah.
That speech he gave at the end, and how they let them go longer on Raw was just, I don't know, it was great. Yeah. Good point.
I also, again, it was insane and bonkers and bad and stupid, but the Steph's promo at the beginning of Triple H's WrestleMania entrance was so crazy that I just have to respect it because it
Wasn't
was
she
just
like damning them all for following the machine?
Yeah, it was.
The machine,
it was so weird.
Damning
but
the
you're just
crowd
like
for being cogs in the machine.
But boy, did she commit!
Yeah. Didn't she have like a little mini mask too, like a
Like a
Triple H mask?
She had like a masquerade stick.
Yeah.
So it starts looking like it's Triple H, and she's like,
yeah. I mean, Miz talking smack is number one, right?
that's pretty good. Yeah. When Miz just loses it on Bryan and Bryan leaves, and he's like, no, point the camera at me.
Point that camera back at me. This is day number 100 and something of them.
That was an amazing promo. Yeah. It's tough because I know there's been other really good stuff on episodes of Talking Smack or on WWE exclusives that I haven't been able to watch. I know that
I still think that one's a clear winner, though.
Oh yeah. But like I know that Ryder had a really good one after losing the title. I know that Ziggler had a fantastic one much earlier in the year that was sort of mirrored later by the one at the draft where he's like, just give me a microphone for 3 minutes, and Booker's like, go, take it, right? And Ziggler's like, okay, and that was a great promo.
Just popped off.
Yeah.
That
was also a good promo.
That. Yeah,
that was also very good. But yeah, the Mrs. promo, the never-ending Intercontinental World Tour was very good.
Yeah.
I know there were some other ones, but
I have some written down still.
Please, yes.
Kevin Owens and Jericho blaming Roman after Survivor Series. That was fucking great.
Yes.
Because we all thought they were going to break, like that was it, right?
Yeah.
They were going to lead up, start building, like Royal Rumble, they were probably going to have a match.
Yeah.
And then they turn around on us and blame Roman Reigns.
And then hug. It was the Roman Reigns into the hug.
Yeah.
Immediately was so good.
And then talking about how Kevin Owens starts going off about how Roman's sweating conditioner out of his hair and everything else. So,
actually, one of my other, I guess this is sort of a pair. Tom Phillips questioning Jericho on who has his back.
Oh,
and he makes up Jim and
Marvin Luter.
Marvin Luter. Yeah. So that one, and
then Winnipeg, you idiot.
And then Jericho's other one, when the promo leading into the ladder or the Money in the Bank match.
Oh yeah,
with Cesaro, Zayn, Jericho, Owens, and Ambrose sitting atop ladders in the ring.
Yeah.
That whole exchange.
That whole exchange was really good.
Was amazing. And Del Rio, sorry, not to forget Del Rio. He was also in that match.
Yeah, he was. Because Kevin Owens is like, pero? What's a pero? Let me guess, you're going to say something in Spanish. Yeah. Oh, man, that was great, too. I have that promo where the New Day are making jokes, and then Xavier Woods tells them that, hey, we need to buck up against the Wyatts. Like, can we not make any more jokes, please?
Yeah.
And then he grew that beard because he wasn't sleeping or shaving.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, that was great. I don't think you saw it, but Brian Kendrick had like a pre-taped kind of interview promo during the Cruiserweight Classic. And there's one line that stuck with me all year where he's like, I have to win this tournament because if I'm not wrestling, I'm not living life. I always thought that was great. Kendrick's had some pretty good promos like throughout the year.
Yeah, I mean, there's some key lines that I really liked. I mentioned in the TLC episode, Orton talking about how the voices are telling him not to be violent, and he ignores them.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin's line about how, this is when he was still, before the brand split, his line about how when he's feuding with Ziggler, he's like, Ziggler was a kid who watched wrestling growing up, and he's decided that's what I want to be, and he wants to be the world champion, and that's nice for him. Mm-hmm. I'm good at beating people up, and if you're good at doing something, you don't do it for free.
Yeah.
Because that was like, here's my character in a sentence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't care about winning titles except for the fact that I'll get more money if I do.
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm good at beating people up, and if you're good at doing something, you don't do it for free. And it's just like, sweet.
Yeah.
That was sweet.
That's sick. I totally forgot about that one.
And I know that New Day have had some excellent promos through the year.
The Time Machine one sticks out.
The Time Machine one is really strong. No, it's 2009, my best year.
Let me go back. The one where they talk about, the New Day talk about jumping the shark, and then they're like, we all know that we don't swim. That one was pretty great.
Yeah, it was like the people like us, like people who play video games. Or no, what was it? That was the Vaudevillains one. Right. That was it. Yeah. It was like they don't much like people like us. Who? Like people who play video games. Or people like
Yeah.
No, what was it? It was something, it was some sort of like misdirection.
Yeah.
Anyway. And no, it's gone. I can't remember. There's for all the.
There was actually the really good promo where the New Day were feuding with League of Nations. That's where the Shame Us came from.
Oh, the back and forth, the Twitter back and forth, or social media back and forth between the New Day and League of Nations.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Match was
were they
great.
dressed up as each other?
Yeah.
New Day dressed up as League of Nations.
For all the Old Day or Sunny Boys or Roman Reigns delivering awkward lines or the do a good lucha thing, there were some great promos over the course of the year. And I know I'm forgetting a lot, especially from earlier in the year, but there's a lot of really good stuff out there.
Give credit where credit's due. Roman Reigns saying, I don't want joke Owens joke. I want fight Owens fight.
That was a good line. That was really good.
So
earlier today, someone showed us a video of Owens having Reigns in a headlock at a house show and yelling at someone in the crowd about how much money he makes off of like merchandise and stuff. And Reigns starts laughing in the headlock.
Great. Yeah.
And then on Twitter, because people were like, ha ha ha, you were laughing. And on Twitter, Reigns said, well, I was laughing because I was thinking about how much more money I make than he does. Because I made even more when I split from the Shield. Think about how much I'm making now within like the smiley face with the dollar signs for eyes.
He's like a perfect heel.
And Owens responding to that, saying, there's no way you wrote that yourself.
Got him!
I love it.
Yeah, Kevin Owens' Twitter, if you're not following it, is an absolute goldmine.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is that there are too many favorite promos.
Yeah.
Who is your? I mean, I know the answer to this, but who was your favorite newcomer to the main roster of WWE this year?
Where did I write this?
You don't even have to look, really.
I didn't even put him on this list.
Really?
I wasn't even thinking of him.
AJ's on such a higher level.
Such a higher level.
All right. AJ Styles, obviously amazing.
Obviously amazing, but I wanted to give different answers.
Yeah.
So I said I had best call-up / newcomer.
Yeah. So either someone debuting on the main roster from elsewhere or called up from NXT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had Brian Kendrick.
Yeah.
Even though he wrestled before.
Yeah. Actually, really good point.
And I had Baron Corbin. Yeah. Those are my two. The two best. I mean, Enzo and Cass are great, but I found that my like for them has just kind of like, I don't know, like they're fun to watch, but I don't really care. I think this whole like Rusev feud's really killed it for me.
Oof. I haven't been keeping up on it. Has it been getting worse?
What have they done? I don't even think so.
I mean,
leading up to and including, what was it? Roadblock.
Right. Yeah.
So I meant all that, and I was just like, while watching that, I was like, I really don't care about this team anymore, right? Like they're entertaining, but I have no like investment.
Yeah.
In their stories. And then, I mean, as far as newcomers go, I just had, and for NXT was Nakamura, Aries, Rude.
Yeah. And DIY.
Yeah. And
actually TJP as well.
Really?
Yeah, I like him.
I'd want to put Finn Balor on the list, but he wasn't around for very long.
I watched a random episode of Cruiserweight Classic, and it was his first one. And he put his legs around a guy's head and dabbed, and I was just like, this guy's hilarious.
That's when I fell in love with him too, because I was watching that. Sorry, and also, we haven't done Match of the Year yet.
No, I'm saving that.
Okay, good. Sorry, you reminded me of one that I didn't put on my list. So.
Actually, I mean, we're getting pretty close to there. I'm just thinking. So there was on the list that we had was like your favorite like wrestling is awesome mark out moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we've talked about them a lot. Like, did you have anything?
I've mentioned it on the show before, and I want to bring it up again because all I ever want to talk about the Zayn versus Nakamura match.
Yeah.
They had just finished doing the dueling elbow blows. And Sami Zayn loses the exchange and does this thing where he kind of like staggers over to the ropes, and then he's going to fall down and he's grabbing the rope just barely. Yeah. Like he holds himself up for a second. And every time I see that, I'm just like, fuck, wrestling's the best. That moment. And I know somebody asked like, what match would you show somebody? That's the match from this year.
Yeah, because there's no. We said before, there's no storyline leading into it. It's all in the ring.
It's all in the ring. It's all just two men fighting for pride, and that's basically it. So if you've never watched wrestling before, and you just watch the show, just please watch Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura take over Dallas from like March of this year or April or wherever it was.
And then so my other big sort of like holy crap like mark out moments were AJ debuting at the Rumble. Yeah. And Ryder winning at WrestleMania.
Yeah. How about Dean cashing in on
also Seth? That was sweet. Yeah. Rollins beating Reigns.
More for me was just Rollins beating Reigns clean. This was before we knew about the suspension. Yeah. And I was like, Roman's not losing until like WrestleMania. Yeah. Like, there is not a chance.
Rollins beating Reigns was awesome, and then Dean cashing in immediately was just icing on the cake.
How different would this year be if Dean... How crazy would this year have been if Dean had beat Lesnar and Roman never got suspended?
No.
I mean, it's impossible to tell, right? Yeah. But I'm just thinking about, like, what would they have done?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be able to wrap my head around, like, what the possibilities could have been. But I really think that if Roman didn't get suspended, he would have been champ until WrestleMania.
Probably. All right, favorite, I think it's just after this one, I think it's his favorite match. Mm-hmm. But favorite pay-per-view of the year. I have two.
All
right.
Number one with a bullet, No Mercy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The first SmackDown pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, AJ
second. Backlash was the first one.
Oh. Maybe I'm thinking of Backlash.
Maybe you're thinking of Backlash. Which one was that?
Yeah, I'm thinking of Backlash. All right. Backlash is the one where AJ won the title.
Yep.
Heath Slater won the title. And I think that's it, really. I mean, Ziggler and Miz had a match where Miz cheated, I think. That was leading up to the... Actually, No Mercy had the career match, though. I think that's why I put it there.
Right. So, here's the thing. I love the Royal Rumble match.
Yeah.
And so Royal Rumble is always like my favorite pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah.
And this year's Royal Rumble not only had the Royal Rumble match, which also had AJ debuting and storylines happening throughout, though I really didn't like the one versus all thing with Reigns and him entering number one and him lasting almost an hour, and I disliked...
Or him getting beat up and then going back for a nap.
That was stinking horse shit. I absolutely did not like how the Rumble match was the focus of, or made Reigns the focus.
Yeah.
But I just love that whole concept, so I still really enjoyed that.
It's awesome. It's
also, that pay-per-view had Kalisto beating Del Rio for the U.S. title.
Oh, right.
Which was sweet.
Yeah.
And something, what else was on the card? There was some other stuff that
It was the last man standing, Owens and Ambrose.
Yes, thank you, yes. That
match was awesome. The first match we ever covered on this show.
Yep.
Yeah.
And my other one is Battleground.
Yeah.
Because that had, among other good matches, that had Zayn versus Owens and the Shield triple threat.
Yeah.
So.
And it also had the Club versus Cena and
right. Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah. And then my other one was just NXT TakeOver Toronto.
Yeah.
Thought that was great.
So then, match of the year, MOTY.
I have.
Did you see the WWE put up their match of the year list today?
Shit, really?
Yeah.
And it's fan voted? Or
No.
or it's just their list?
It's their
Really?
editorial list. You will absolutely never guess which
Number one?
they put on number one. Because it is not what I would have expected from the WWE.
I'm going to think of this in the WWE lens.
Yeah.
Reigns versus Triple H.
No.
Fuck. That was my final answer.
Revival versus DIY.
Really?
Yeah.
Fucking shout outs to the WWE.
Their website team, their web content team tends to be a lot more...
Shows how cynical I am.
Right? Their web content team tends to be a lot more free and more in tune with what
fans like, I guess.
Yeah, they're less hemmed in by like the sort of the sanitized view that gets sort of forced out on TV.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was surprised, but yeah, I can tell you their list afterwards, and we can talk about it. But I know that you've been looking at this for a while, and I'm positive that I will not have a match here that you won't also want to talk
This
about.
is pretty big. I added to it after I said to
all
do
right,
it to you.
bring it on. Let's talk about the matches.
All right, so I'm going to do 5. I've narrowed it down to 5.
That's amazing.
My 5 favorites.
And
Number
these are not just because they're like, these are great matches from the perspective of in-ring performance and storyline.
Yeah.
And like, these are just great wrestling matches.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 5.
All right.
Flair versus Banks Iron Woman match. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I really thought this match was great. And then like just the happenstance of Sasha getting her nose mangled.
Yeah.
And just that blood, like I think that image will define Sasha's career going forward. Like where they were in overtime and she was reaching for the ropes and she couldn't get there and she's all bloody and
regardless of I didn't think that their cell match ended badly either. Like, sure, the table didn't break, but I still thought that it ended fine.
it made it look worse. She was just like worse isn't it hurt more?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think they've had a bad match on the main roster.
I don't think so. Yeah. I just don't. I will stick with that number 5. Number 4, I put both the Revival DIY matches just at number 4.
That's fair.
Just because it counted as like kind of like a mini.
And this was at TakeOver Toronto and
TakeOver Brooklyn. Yeah, Brooklyn first. They had a great match. Some argue that the Brooklyn match was better. And then they had a 2 out of 3 falls at TakeOver Toronto, which was also fantastic.
That's the one that WWE put at the top of their list.
Yeah. The 2 out of 3 falls?
Yeah.
That's fair. That match was incredible. I wonder where the Revival are going to go when they get called up, inevitably. Probably Raw.
Probably. I'd be curious to see if, I mean, tag teams died the death on the main roster, so I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Because, I mean, how awesome were the Ascension in NXT, and then they came up and...
Look at the Vaudevillains. I feel bad for the Vaudevillains.
Yeah. I mean, Simon Gotch got all fucking aggro.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we're going to gossip, like, right, from what I've heard, we've heard. Number three, Miz versus Ziggler, career versus title.
Yep. Stellar match. We talked about it recently. That was the one, No Mercy.
A lot of people argue that the ladder match was better. And I was like, I was not as invested in the ladder match as I was
because of the storyline.
Yeah, yes. I was fucking completely convinced that Ziggler was losing that match.
Yeah, the in-ring the pure in-ring might have been better in the ladder match because it was one of the better ladder matches for me in terms of like believability and not like overselling the slow climbing the ladders and it was so back and forth and it felt like anybody could have taken it, but yeah, in terms of the in-ring and the storyline, I agree with you there. Wins.
Number two, Styles versus Cena at SummerSlam.
That was an amazing match.
Yeah,
and that's the one that AJ won clean, right? Yeah.
That was a great match. A lot of people don't like the like multiple finisher close. Like getting kicked.
It was such a good match, though. This is AJ Styles and John Cena.
Yeah,
holy crap!
And I just had to do it. I know it's NXT, but number one with a bullet, Zayn versus Nakamura. It just has to. Like I just don't see a world where you could put. I mean, if I'm cutting that match out and I'd shift everything up one, and then number 5, I would probably put.
He has a long, short list.
It's a very long list.
I've seen
number 5. I would put Styles versus Reigns at Extreme Rules.
Yeah,
that match was.
That was a really good match.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns is not a bad wrestler.
No, he's not. I'm sorry, he's not.
Yeah,
we've talked about this. I know we could just beat this fucking issue to death. Yeah. He's not a bad wrestler.
Yeah,
it's just his big dopey face taking up the screen when he's trying to act all cool.
So the 3 that I put down that weren't in your top 5, but that I'm sure were elsewhere on your list.
Yeah, let me see.
Was the Owens and Zayn at Battleground?
Yeah, that's on
the feud ender.
Yeah.
The Shield triple threat at Battleground.
Yeah.
Dean, Rollins, and Reigns for the title. That
was a great match.
And I also like that Dean retained. That was
shocked the fuck out of all of us.
That was an important part of that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And maybe this is weird.
Okay. There's nothing weird here, Graham.
Ambrose versus Triple H at Roadblock.
Yeah, that was on my list too.
Yeah, that was a really good match.
I was convinced that Dean might win that match.
I know. Yeah. That was what started. That was when I started to like really not turn around, because I was never against Dean, but that was when I was really like more bought into Dean.
We have something here, like
they're like, shit, this guy's great. And then what was on the rest of your short list?
Short list: KO versus Ambrose, last man standing at Royal Rumble.
Yep.
Balor versus Rollins at SummerSlam.
That was a great match. That was a really good match. Marred by everyone.
Crowd.
Marred by everyone shitting on the new title.
Yeah. Joe versus Nakamura at TakeOver Toronto.
Yeah.
Joe versus Balor at TakeOver Dallas when Joe got fucking cut open.
Like immediately?
Yeah. I felt bad for him, but it made Joe look like a monster.
Yeah.
Aries versus Nakamura at TakeOver Brooklyn. Bayley versus Asuka at TakeOver Dallas.
Shit, that was
because they had to follow Zayn versus Nakamura.
Oh, that was this year.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Bayley, where Bayley doesn't tap out and just passes out.
And the crowd, the air
amazing.
visibly left the building. Like it was just like.
That was actually. That one was probably in my top 5. Actually, that was amazing.
And then the entire Cruiserweight Classic, I just put them all.
That's fun.
I mean, the best match was.
They have like grossly mishandled the Cruiserweights since the Classic.
Yeah.
205 Live is helping, but again, they're doing it after SmackDown at the.
They're taping it now, though, at least.
Thankfully, but the Cruiserweight Classic was really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, the best match was obviously Kota Ibushi versus Cedric Alexander. And after they finished that match, the crowd was chanting, "Please sign Cedric.
Yeah.
Was like the big catalyst, I think, for him getting signed. But yeah, there we go.
Sweet.
Match of the year. We did it.
You want me to rip through the WWE's list first?
Yeah.
Or just real quick? All right. This is a top 25, so we're not going to go deep on these, but I think you'd find it interesting. Triple H versus Dean Ambrose at Roadblock.
Is that like 25?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 25.
Yeah.
Team Raw versus Team SmackDown men's at Survivor Series. I really like that.
I actually watched it again, and I think I was too critical of it.
The New Day versus The Club on Raw Tag Team Championship match on September 26th.
Okay. Sure.
Money in the Bank ladder match, Ambrose, Owens, Jericho, Cesaro, Zayn, and Del Rio.
Yep.
I want to shout out also to match 7 in Cesaro Sheamus.
Yeah.
The one that ended in a no contest.
The story, I think I had that written down in my storylines, like that whole storyline where it was like, it started and you're like,
This sounds awful.
Sounds dumb.
A best of 7 between. Okay.
And then by the end of it, I was just like, "Fuck yeah, Cesaro's gonna win, and he's gonna go on to become world champion." And then, well, to be fair though, that whole relationship with those two, I bought in.
Yeah.
I didn't like Sheamus at the beginning of the year. I like Sheamus now.
Yeah. Jericho versus Styles at Fastlane.
Yep.
Just saying it like this. Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. Jericho and Styles at Fastlane. Anyway, Asuka v. Bayley women's match at Brooklyn 2. New Day versus Y2AJ tag championship match on Raw.
Yeah, that was a really good match. Yeah,
it was. Ziggler versus Triple H on Raw, March 14th.
Oh, right! I forgot about that. Yeah, Ziggler got like a random world title shot.
Yeah, he's like, I bet I can do it. And Trips is like, all right, sure,
why
not?
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Isn't that one where he like just came out and started haranguing them, and Steph was like, fine, and Trips was like, I'm
sorry, what?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins championship match at Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Which then Seth won and Dean cashed in on.
Yeah.
Miz, Zayn, Cesaro, and Kevin Owens Fatal 4-Way Intercontinental Championship match at Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
That's the one where Zayn
and Owens
could have won it and then just left. Banks and Flair at Hell in a Cell.
Yep.
Finn Balor, Seth Rollins at SummerSlam.
Yep.
The Revival versus American Alpha at TakeOver Dallas.
Yeah,
that was a great match.
Yeah.
Reigns versus Styles Extreme Rules. Mm-hmm. Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa and the Cruiserweight Classic.
Oh shit, I forgot about that match.
You mentioned the entire Cruiserweight Classic.
I know, but that match specifically was fucking awesome.
That was really, really good.
And then like they sowed that seed of Ciampa turning on Gargano after their first loss to the Revival at TakeOver Brooklyn. And we were like, fuck, is he going to turn on him? Because Gargano ate the submission.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fuck, that was great. They kind of like just ignored it, but I think it'll come up again.
Mm-hmm. Miz versus Ziggler, title versus career.
Yeah.
Cena versus Styles at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Women's triple threat at WrestleMania.
All right.
Charlotte, Sasha, Becky.
Totally forgot about it.
It was really good.
That was the best match on the card.
Yeah, I mean, for me, again, I've mentioned Ryder. I mentioned the pop a couple times. That moment was great. Ryder winning, that moment was great.
Yeah.
But the best match was the women's match.
Yeah.
Yes, it absolutely was.
Yeah.
I mean, ladder matches are always fun, but it's like, the match was like, oh, sweet, ladders, whatever. But no, the best match because Ambrose Lesnar should have stolen the show.
It should have.
That should have stolen the show, and it didn't.
Yeah.
And we knew that the main event was going to be.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I was giving Roman the benefit of the doubt on that one. I was like, okay, let's see.
Well, I was like, after seeing Ambrose Triple H at Roadblock, I was like, okay, I thought. I wasn't sure how much of that was Dean being great and how much of it was Triple H making Dean look great.
Yeah.
And then after WrestleMania, I was like, okay, Triple H is great and Dean is great.
Yeah.
And Triple H was not able to elevate Roman in this match. Owens and Rollins no DQ for the U.S. title match, or for the world title on Raw November 21st. This was with Reigns and Jericho were banned from ringside.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Really?
Apparently, this is their list, so whatever. Styles, Ambrose, Cena, triple threat at No Mercy.
Yeah.
Kota Ibushi versus Cedric Alexander.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Sami Zayn versus Owens at Battleground.
Yeah.
Charlotte versus Sasha women's title on July 25th Raw, which would have been the new era.
The first one where Sasha won it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then their top two, remember this is the list on WWE.com, is Zayn and Nakamura at TakeOver Dallas
NXT
and
matches.
Revival DIY at TakeOver
That's
Toronto.
really funny. Yeah.
They were, if you're looking for the best, their list is not bad.
Yeah.
It's we have some ones that we
Like, I don't want to
preferred,
sound like a corporate shill, but that $9.99 is fucking worth it. If you're not sure,
dude, I wish we were getting some sort of kickback on that
Oh my
because so
God.
many people have tweeted at us being like, "I bought the network because of you guys."
I bought the network because you guys.
And I'm
Well,
like,
you know what? I think it's worth it for NXT alone.
Yeah,
It is. Just getting like the takeover specials, like, I mean, you only get 4 a year or something, but and even NXT every week, like, you still get to. Oh, it's fucking great.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll never regret paying for it.
So, 2016.
did it.
It was a good year for wrestling.
That was a great year for wrestling. I am excited for 2017.
Me too.
Mainly because we're going to be at the Royal Rumble. So.
Yeah, and that's going to be our next episode.
Yeah.
Is we're going to be at the Royal Rumble, and then we're going to come back and
Probably watch it again.
record. And I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'll probably we'll be there, and then we're going to get back, and then I'm going to watch it, the Royal Rumble, just to see because it's different with commentary.
What it looked like on TV. Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Because we're not going to get to hear any of the
Yeah,
commentary.
we won't hear any of the commentary.
That's going to be so weird.
Yeah.
Because there's never commentary at house shows, so I'm not missing anything.
Yeah.
But oh man,
It is kind of weird when you're watching and you're just
be so odd.
Well, all you're gonna miss is Michael Cole being a fucking moron, and then David Otunga saying "golly" a lot.
Golly.
I could fill in for him if you want me to.
That'd be great.
Golly,
Ball game, golly, ball game. They're just here to have fun, right?
They cheer. They want to boo, and they boo, and they want to cheer. Quickly,
Yeah.
what? Give me one prediction for 2017. One thing that you're gonna go all in on,
Dude, like
just one.
if I could never have predicted this, any of the stuff that happened, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, hey, you know who all the various champions are? Well, you've got Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, and Samoa Joe are currently holding the top titles.
Well, Nakamura's holding it again now.
Right. Yeah. But at
the time,
one time, the two biggest names in homegrown TNA wrestlers, AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, were holding top titles in WWE.
Yep.
That's nuts.
What a time to be alive, am I right?
Wow, okay.
It could even be a blanket statement like so-and-so will win the world title by the end of the year. You know what I mean?
Okay, Bayley's going to win the women's title at some point.
Okay.
Joe will come to the main roster, obviously. That's not even...
Yeah, come on, Graham. Give me something just nutty.
Oh, man. I don't know. Let me think about this. Do you have anything?
Bobby Roode is going to win the world title by the end of the year.
Bobby Roode.
On either
Raw or SmackDown, like the main roster.
Yeah. Bobby Roode's going to move up to the main roster and win the title.
That makes a lot of sense because he's not in NXT because he needs smoothing.
No,
he's in NXT.
I mean, the easy bet would be Nakamura is just going to move up and win the title wherever he goes. But I'm going to say Bobby Roode.
How do they use Nakamura on the main roster?
Oh, God, I'm scared and excited. Scare-sighted. Also, Sami Zayn wins the Royal Rumble. I know it's a long shot, but I'm just...
Wins a Royal Rumble.
The one we're going to be
The one we're going to be at?
Yeah.
Oh, that's I like that prediction.
Because it can't be Goldberg and it can't be Brock Lesnar, right?
No.
Because they're going to have a match at...
Mania. Obviously, yeah.
And I think... Oh, fuck. Okay, maybe... Okay, I'm going to make that prediction. Calling it now. And I said it on Twitter. I'm sure a million other people have said it before me, but Ty Dillinger is entering at number 10.
Yeah, right.
It might not be his call-up, but he's coming in at number 10.
I think 2017 is finally going to be the year for Bray Wyatt.
Okay. We say that every year, don't we?
In our hearts, we say it every year. No, I think he's going to finally get a world title. And is it too much to hope that someone from the New Day gets a main event push with the New Day?
Yeah, like they don't break them up?
Yeah. I think it should be Kofi. It'll probably be Big E.
It'll be Big E if it's going to be anyone.
I I want to believe that they can make that happen.
Yeah, I think I would really like them to see
I want to see
them kind of like stay together.
Yeah.
But wrestle singles.
I want to see, I want to see Kofi, but more likely
Kofi will probably win the U.S. I'll say Kofi will win the U.S. title this year.
Who cares, right? That's the problem.
Hey, I know. It's a good point.
Maybe he can make the U.S. title great again.
Maybe. I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know.
It's going to take some work. It's been sort of forgotten in the last couple months.
Yeah, but that's it. Those are our big predictions.
Sure. Why not?
So when Bobby Roode,
I didn't know. Yeah.
When Bobby Roode wins that world title, you just come back to me and be like, "You're smart, Adam."
The chosen one, the prophet,
Nostradamus.
Yeah,
that's what they call me.
Oh man! All right, we're gonna go away now.
This is it, man. We will see you guys in the new year.
Yeah. And thanks so much for watching, as always. Yeah. And as always, you can find us on Twitter if you want to talk wrestling.
If you want to talk about how great my prediction of Bobby Roode winning the world title in 2017 is, you can find me at Wake Up Super.
And if you want to talk about my terrible predictions, I'm at Graham_LRR.
Yeah.
And you can check us out on this very YouTube channel. Yeah. Please do subscribe.
Click the bell thing.
You can, click subscribe and the bell so you can get notified.
Yeah.
Check us out on Twitch at twitch.tv/LoadingReadyRun, where we stream every day.
Every single day.
And all of this is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. Thank you so much. We hugely appreciate your support.
Yeah. Bye.
That's going to do it. Later.